Hello, Real Estate Rockstars. Host Hana is here. And today I have our coach, Jess Stone, on a jam session. And we are again focusing on buyers. This is our part 2, right, Jess?
Right. That's
Part
right.
2. When you know
Interesting.
what? Let's talk about money. And let's talk about first-time buyers, right? I would say that they're the most fragile, maybe most emotional,
Oh,
maybe most
definitely.
euphoric, and maybe also unrealistic. And I think working with them, I remember from last time, it just gives you all that excitement when the deal happens, and it fills up your heart with a lot of positive emotions when you help them. But I think to get from the point A to point B when it's signed and deal is done and everyone is happy, there are a lot of moving parts, and the most important part is money.
Yes.
So, uh,
So,
I'll take it from here.
all right.
I,
Well,
I will just
first,
sit down, enjoy my coffee.
the big elephant in the room, the whole situation with NAR and the settlement and everything. You
Mhm.
know, last time I was like, hey, I do like one and done. And now I'm having to completely shift that. So it's no longer one and done. I'm doing my consultation up front. I'm getting my buyer's agreement signed up front. And it's definitely, I
And
mean,
you,
I try to get my buyer's agreement signed regardless when I was doing that. But now with the fact with the commissions and everything and how we can't disclose them on MLS anymore, you know, we need to advocate for ourselves. So that's really an important part of our consultation. But we also need to prepare our buyers because they're the ones that need to be ready. And the biggest thing they do that you can do now with your buyers is sending them to get pre-approved. This is even before they walk out the gate, even before you open that door, that very first door, you have to have a buyer's agreement. And honestly, what's the point of having a buyer's agreement if they're not pre-approved?
yeah.
So we got to point them in the right direction.
Mhm.
Part of the consultation is going to be, are they pre-approved? If not, you want to hook them up with a lender and you want to make sure that, the lender knows what they're doing. I have a list of different lenders that I use for different clients. I always kind of check the situation and everything. And I will tell them, okay, this lender is really great with first time home buyers. This lender is really great with VA buyers. I have a lender that specializes in USDA loans in our office, which is really cool because VA and USDA are also 0% down. So you don't have to put anything down. Sometimes that's really awesome.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So
Are there any financial institutions you do not recommend? Oh, maybe that's a wrong question.
I'm gonna,
Be
that's
held
kind of a
responsible
loaded question, and I
for a
don't
friend.
really want to, yeah, that's kind of a loaded question, and
Yeah.
I don't like to talk negatively about any specific institution. I always recommend going to a mortgage broker
Yep.
because a mortgage broker is going to give you so many different options. They can look at not just one company. I would present the opportunity to my buyer, my first time home buyer. If they have a bank that they're comfortable with, like they've been banking with it since they were a kid or something. Like my dad, he's had the same bank since 1954 that has done all of his loans, including the one when we bought our house here in Florida. They helped us with our loan here. And, if they're comfortable with the bank and the bank gives them a good rate, go for it. But a lot
Well,
of
would
times,
you recommend to at least compare a couple of the
yes.
institutions because they
Yes.
can come up with very different numbers in a long run, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Lenders, the mortgage lenders, the brokerages, they can come up with a whole bunch of stuff. So I have a couple of brokerages that I work with that they actually, from one brokerage to another, I can get a better rate at a different brokerage than I can with one. So
Mhm.
it's really interesting how it works. I'm surprised. I'm still learning a lot about the whole mortgage process, and I've actually been thinking about going after my mortgage license as well,
Ah,
just to be able to help my buyers more.
that's
Not that I want to double dip there, but
well, but it gives you another angle. It adds on services you already offer, and you know what? It gives you ability to really help and establish the common knowledge, like how much money they can loan, they can get,
yeah,
because that's the step number one, right? To
yeah,
know.
you do not want to be showing a buyer, if you have a client that is, or a customer, because at that point they're still a customer. If you have a customer and they're sending you houses, it's first time home buyer, and they're sending you houses that are like $500,000, and you're pretty sure that, with what they're working with, they can't afford that. I always tell them, I would hate to show you this beautiful house on the river that you fall in love with and you can't buy it.
Yeah.
So you try to set the expectations ahead of time. That's why getting pre-approved is so important for your buyers.
Mhm.
It's how you set your budget. It's how you know. And down here in Florida, we kind of like to stay away from the money situation. It just there's too much there's too much of a chance to be like, okay, hey, we'll kind of push the numbers around, and it's not that I've seen it happen, but I've heard about it. And I would just rather myself stay out of the money side and be like, okay, let's find out what your budget is. Let's have you talk to a lender. And then a lender can also help them, a lender's going to look at their debts, because you have to have all your ducks in a row when you go in. There are certain documents, and this is something that you can actually prepare your buyer with. You can tell them to have this stuff ready. Like when you have that first phone call.
Yeah. Do you have a list of documents?
Yes,
Can
actually
you
I
give
do,
that?
and we can I'll put it up on the Rockstars and everything, just to be on the safe side. Um but yeah, you want to have your proof of income and assets, like your paycheck stubs, bank statements, and the paycheck stubs you want to have at least 60 days worth. So that is what most lenders are telling me. Bank statements, retirement account statements if you have those, tax returns, gift letters. This is something that a lot of people forget about. And they're like, oh, my mom or dad is giving me like $10,000 to put towards the house, if they're lucky enough to have parents that can do that. And you need to have a letter from that family member that's giving you money to help towards this, because that's, and then there is this form your lender will actually give it to you. It's an IRS form, um 4506, and I think it's dash T. That's actually the lender, that's a form that gives the lender permission to actually pull your records.
But it's a soft pull, right?
Yeah, it is a soft pull. It you're gonna notice it. It's gonna ding you just a little bit, but it's very soft. And if you want to try different lenders during like a 30-day period, you're totally open to doing that.
Mhm.
It is it's actually a good thing to do. I wouldn't go like super crazy. Like I wouldn't go over here and then go over here and over here and over here and over here. But like if you talk with like 3, 4 different lenders, the credit bureaus, their bots are going to be like, oh, they're looking for a mortgage, they're comparing rates. So yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah, proof of employment, you're going to have, your W-2s, your 1099s, whatever you got, especially if you're self-employed, your 1099s, and also 2 years worth of taxes showing that you're in good standing. Um, you're going to have information on your debts, like your credit card debts, student loans. I know that they're kind of like doing some stuff with student loans right now, so I actually need to educate myself a little bit more on that one. Um, but yeah, any kind of debts that you carry, car loans, anything like that, have that ready. Credit reports, if you have a copy of your credit report, that's awesome. You can share that with your lender, but they will pull one. So, and they can share that with you as well. So, then you're also going to want to, you're going to get your pre-approval letter, but the lender is going to tell you, kind of what you can afford. And they're going to kind of give you an estimate of what they think your payment's going to be. That would be the loan estimate. And you usually get that within like 3 days of completing your loan application. But with your pre-approval, I work with a lot of lenders that actually give me that information up front.
Mhm,
They'll tell me, okay, they're approved up to a certain amount.
mhm,
But if they could stay under this amount, that'll be better, because this way their payments will be X. And I always want to take into consideration also if they're looking at houses in homeowners associations, like if there's a condo association. Down here in Florida, we have something called CDD, which is Community Development District, which that goes on the taxes,
mhm,
because your homeowner's insurance, your taxes, and your property taxes specifically, and HOAs, those are all taken into consideration as far as your payment is concerned. So it's like once we have our budget from the lender, we can actually go out and start looking.
mhm.
So
That's
it's
the part.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
It's like there's a whole bunch of moving parts
yeah.
in one area. It's like it all happens all at the same time. It's like you're trying to get pre-approved, but you're also trying to figure out what you can afford and what houses you want to look at, when it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much coming at you, and you really need to prepare your buyers. You gotta you gotta communicate empathetically. You have to be like, okay, yeah, I understand this is hard. It's also stressful because it's the biggest purchase that they've probably ever made, especially as first-time home buyers. I mean, I can't think of anything bigger than a house
Yeah.
that would,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. How long usually is valid the pre-approval?
Pre-approvals are usually valid for 60 to 90 days.
Mhm.
So it depends on the lender. I've seen some of them valid for like 90 days. But mostly if we're looking after 60 days, I always try and get it updated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then obviously there is a list of what not to do.
Yes.
Before, yeah, right.
Yes.
I think that's like a source of a lot of jokes in a real estate world.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
those who are new agents, you better listen what you have to tell your
Yeah.
boss. Not
Make sure. All right, one thing I have to kind of share a story, because this happened to me a couple of years ago. I had a client that was very, very into cryptocurrency. He was like obsessed with cryptocurrency, and he was in the we were under contract and everything, and he kept taking cryptocurrency out of the cryptocurrency market and putting it in his bank account.
okay.
That's a great big no-no. No, because you have to show where all that money comes from.
Oh,
You have to show. And he kept transferring this money into his account. And then he transferred it from one of his bank accounts to another bank account that had higher interest rate for like saving. And we're like, dude, please stop transferring money. Don't, it's like once you're under contract, even before you're under contract, don't go crazy with your credit cards. Don't buy anything big. I mean, I know that sometimes there are issues where you have to, buy a car if if your car breaks down, or you have to put something on a credit card because, stuff happens, life happens. But if you know that you're planning on buying a house, talk to a lender about it,
yeah.
because yeah, you could go. People really like to buy appliances and stuff like when they get a new house, like right before closing. They like to go into the stores and they're like, oh, it's 0% interest. No, don't do it. No.
It dings the credit, absolutely. And the credit can drop
Yeah.
dramatically after
you
purchases like that because
yeah,
that's what happens. Yeah.
you also don't want to change jobs. I
Oh,
actually
yeah.
I have an agent that I'm working with now that um, her buyer actually transferred. She's doing the same job, but she transferred from one hospital to another. And she and we got word from the lender that, hey, she transferred, so we're gonna have to rerun the employment and
Well,
everything.
it showed us, so she probably got a new contract and it showed us a new job. So,
Yep.
so
So
that can create a real complication.
it's creating a little bit of a hiccup. Hopefully we will be able to transcend that hiccup. My fingers are crossed, but I won't know for a couple of days still. We'll know on April 2nd.
And
So
the issue is that bank is going by numbers.
mhm,
There is not really a human in a system to say, oh, that's reasonable.
mhm.
So it can really flag down the entire transaction, which
Yeah.
for some people that would be like really, that would be a disaster.
I mean, honestly, even like if you're like out with friends, I've seen this happen. If you're out with friends and you go to like a fancy dinner thing and you're like, "Oh, hey, I'll just sell you like 200 bucks."
Uh-huh.
I've seen some underwriters get so picky that they want to know where that 200 bucks came from, what that 200 bucks is for. It's ridiculous. But there are some lenders that are so picky about that.
Yeah.
And especially in FHA buyers and VA buyers, you're going to have to show. And it's like, at that point, it's like, oh, you did that? Okay, have your friend write a letter. I sent so and so 200 bucks for dinner. That's what that was for.
It's interesting. So tell your buyers while they are in a process of buying to live almost like monastery lifestyle.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Don't take out, get
Just
home.
don't do anything
It's your
out of
money.
the average. It's like use your credit cards as normal. Just don't charge them up like crazy.
Yeah.
Don't buy any furniture, don't buy any appliances, don't buy a car, don't change jobs. Those are the big ones. Those really are the big ones. It's just that can really screw you up. It
Yeah.
really can.
But you know what? That's important. That's one of the part why people hire realtors like you to walk them through this rocky ocean, because one single mistake can completely create a havoc for the entire family,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
everything hinges on your financing. And if your financing goes away, and I've had to do some dirty work.
Okay.
It's we've had to pivot days before close. And we were thankful that we were in a situation where we could pivot quickly, and I had already prepped another lender because I had a feeling that it was coming. And I was like, okay, let's get this started over here. And it was smooth sailing once I switched the lenders.
Did it ever happen to you that the buyer lost financing and then you had to maybe assist them with another options like renting or renting to buy? How is that? Did it?
Um, I have helped people with like, their financing fell through,
Mhm.
or, the house that they were moving into, like if they were relocating and they had to, the house that they were working on getting wasn't ready or something. I've helped people with like temporary housing and stuff. Once we get into like a rental situation, it's usually people will delay like a year. And
Okay.
at that point, that becomes like a follow-up for you as the agent to sit there and just, stay at the front of their mind. Hey, how you doing? Oh, did you check out this coffee bar in the area? Just have some fun and make a friend, you
That's
know.
right, because you don't want to lose the client.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, yes.
And then also work with the lender.
Mhm.
And sometimes they're going to want to switch lenders, especially if they have like a bad experience where they lose out very like late in the sale and they're like, oh, that lender sucks. They're going to want to go with the different lender. So point them in the right direction. Be empathetic, be try and put yourself in their shoes, because think about it. I mean, if you were going to buy a house and you couldn't get the financing last minute and you're stuck and you're going to move, you got to help them. I would definitely appreciate the help if somebody was helping me find an apartment and everything, which I have done. I've taken people on apartment tours like when we found out that they lost their funding last minute. And, I mean, unfortunately they didn't stay around. So they actually moved back to North Carolina, but I'm still friends with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
That must be, oh my gosh, that like talking about the opposite of happy emotions, right?
mhm. Yeah.
That just like really, I am having a goosebumps.
Oh, yeah, and then on the other side of things, you also have sellers that have already moved,
Yeah.
and then the buyers, they lose the financing, but you're dealing with the seller side. You
Hmm.
have to tell them, "Hey, we've got this problem. The financing fell through. We have to put the house back on the market." And that can be really hard on some people, especially if they've moved already.
Yeah, yeah.
Already.
And then you might have a already earnest deposit or money already in tied to it.
Yep.
Like
And
it's
then
very,
releasing that and working with the title company to get that back to them. It's it can be an emotional roller coaster.
yeah. So being ready for it and having as much information, it's really important.
Mhm.
And once again, that's how and why realtors get hired and paid, because this
Yes.
is important, guys. Okay, so
It
if you're
is it is
assisting a
just
buyer,
as important to be a buyer's agent as it is a listing agent, at least in my opinion. So,
well,
I mean, 'cause I know that there are some people out there that are like, lift last and everything, but I've split my time pretty equally between both buyers and sellers. And I I know several agents that have built really good careers on being buyer's agents.
well,
And
your buyers will become sellers
eventually, yeah.
eventually, right?
Yeah.
And without buyers, we don't have sellers. It's like the bird needs a right wing and left wing to
Yep.
fly. So we need both parties. And I know that the NAR subject is still very sensitive, and who knows how it will evolve. But I do believe that people will still need a representation because it's such
I
a
do too.
expensive.
And it is going to be so much more important to show your value as a buyer's agent. And this is one thing that I've been thinking really heavily on the past few weeks. In fact, even before the settlement came down, I was already thinking about how we have so much real estate that is coming in and being built, and then also we have companies that are coming into our area that are building. Amazon is building here, and we've got a big new cancer research center that's being developed and everything. And there's going to be people moving into the area from out of state. I mean, but also, I mean, I have that anyway because it's Florida. So you really want to, especially where you're negotiating your own commission now, you want to show your buyers that they're worth it. You want to show them your value so they'll sign that buyer's agreement.
Mhm.
Because, oh yeah, I'll open a door for you. That's not gonna work.
Yeah.
You gotta
I
give
know,
them
because there
extra.
is whole negotiation and way more than just I'm gonna open the door and get paid for
Oh yeah.
that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I also noticed that you're working on a buyer's class boot
Mhm.
camp, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Uh,
I've got a webinar that I'm working on for you guys. I am so excited about it because I actually just finished writing it just the other day, and I'm refining now. And I'm also taking the webinar as kind of like a taste of a boot camp that I'm really going to go in depth with.
mhm.
And on the boot camp, I am going to share um, the templates for my buyer's guide. I'm going to share, you know, you're going to have access to my consultation, maybe even do some like one-on-one coaching and role playing and stuff, go through an actual consultation with somebody. Um, I'm going to have you guys ready and be able to show your value so you can get that buyer's agreement signed easier. So
The,
yeah, I've got a
including
lot of
the
stuff.
commission, right? Some negotiating tips
Mhm.
on
Yep.
commission.
Oh, we're gonna have negotiating tips on commission and everything. But my biggest thing on commission is I want you guys to know what you're worth.
Mhm.
You need to see that you are worth what you're getting paid.
Yes. Yes. What you bring to the table is the house.
Yes, exactly. And the house is just the MacGuffin. that's the thing that the story revolves around, you know? That's like the Maltese Falcon right there. But the story is actually getting your buyers comfortable with you to sign to sign the agreement, and then to get them the house. You know, it's the story of getting them from point A to point B.
Yeah. Yeah. Just from top of your mind, do you know when is the webinar?
I'm not sure yet. We have not
I mean,
decided
they don't
when
schedule it.
that,
Okay,
but it's
so
gonna be soon.
whoever is watching, please, if you would like a invitation to Jess's webinar, which will be focused on buyers, please chime in either in this post or wherever you will see this video or record.
It's gonna be fun. I'm so excited. I've been working on it like almost nonstop. So
Between your appointments, obviously.
yes, yeah, between appointments. So yeah, it's getting kind of crazy over here. So the spring market is warming up quite nicely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. I'm excited. I'm really excited.
I think it's something what we were missing at Real Estate Rockstars among all the coachings we offer and programs we have. We never had a buyers class because we know how our founder Borino felt about it, but
It's
it,
probably like
it is
test.
needed. It is needed, yes, because sellers need buyers and buyers need sellers. So
Yeah, and why not? You know, why not? It's like I always say how it's a big sandbox and everybody needs to learn how to play together. We need to learn how to communicate. Like the buyer's agents need to learn how to communicate with listing agents, and listing agents needs to learn how to communicate with buyer's agents.
yeah.
There's a lot of head butting that
Mm,
can be done out there. I've seen it. And especially with newer agents, if you're just starting in the business, like I have a very good friend that I'm teaming up with that is, you know, she's just learning, and we're having so much fun. It's like bringing new life, but it's like teaching her everything that I know about buyers and working with buyers and streamlining the process. And she's like, "Oh my gosh."
yeah.
Because if you can streamline that process, that's another value proposition for you. You know, you can actually, instead of taking them to 150 houses or whatever, I think the average, I think, is like 15 houses before somebody actually puts in a contract. If you can narrow that down, that's amazing. That
Mhm.
saves you time, that saves your clients time, and that saves you gas money and other expenses, you know, that you're not running around like a crazy person. You can narrow it down and then just keep them on track throughout the process.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. Love, love all of it. Jess, time is up.
Oh my
Thank
God.
you for part two on buyers. I'll keep on thinking where else I can lure you in to get more expertise from you because you actually started real estate career at two different states, right? You have a lot of experience, and I really appreciate that you are sharing so much here at the Rockstars.
Well, I'm happy to help.
I really
I love it.
Thank you, thank you. And guys, who you are watching, we will post as quickly as we know when Jess's webinar is scheduled. We'll make sure that you know about it so you can keep on learning how to work buyers. Thank you for watching. Jess, you have a wonderful day. Enjoy. Hopefully you have a sunny Florida. Send us some
It's
sunshine
raining.
here. DC is
No
raining.
sunshine today, but yeah, heck, later.
Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day. And all of you guys have a wonderful day and keep on selling, keep on buying. Bye-bye.